When history books are written about this decade, 2025 will not be remembered as an ordinary year. It will be remembered as a turning point, a year of shaking foundations, political, spiritual, and technological. A year when the illusions of stability were stripped away, and humanity found itself staring into a mirror that reflected both its greatest ambitions and its darkest fears. All around us, signs of global transformation are accelerating. Wars are no longer distant regional conflicts, they are now shaking alliances that held for decades. Economies are not simply fluctuating, they are teetering on the edge of collapse. Technology is not just advancing, it is evolving at such speed that many are beginning to call artificial intelligence a new god rising among men. But here's the question at the heart of prophecy. Are these random coincidences, or are they signs of an ancient plan unfolding before our very eyes for thousands of years? Seers, prophets, and sacred texts have spoken of a time when humanity would face a great crossroads. A time when the world would experience rumors of wars, plagues, economic instability, and a rise of strange new powers. And here we are standing in that very moment. The wars of nations, rumors becoming reality in 2025, conflicts have escalated in ways that shake the pillars of world order. Old alliances are cracking, trade wars are turning into literal wars, and for the first time since the Cold War, whispers of nuclear threats and global-scale warfare are back on the table. The Bible spoke of this very era where Christ warned, "You will hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not alarmed, for this must take place, but the end is not yet." Matthew 24:6. Look around. What was once rumor is now headline news. Nations once bound together by trade are now severing ties. Leaders speak not of cooperation, but of confrontation. It feels as though prophecy itself is leaping off the page and into our timelines. But here is the chilling part. Wars today are no longer just about land or resources. They are about control of information, artificial intelligence, rare earth minerals, and the digital economy. Humanity is fighting not only for territory but for mastery of the invisible powers that now shape our lives. The shaking of the global economy, if wars test the strength of nations, economic collapse tests the faith of individuals. In 2025, we have seen markets swing violently, currencies lose value overnight, and new digital economies rise to replace the old. The so-called Trump slump of early 2025 shook the world markets to their core. Aggressive tariff rollouts sent shockwaves that rippled across continents. What was framed as a move to protect the homeland became a chain reaction of fear. Supply chains shattered, stock markets crashed, and global trust fractured. Is this just another cycle of the boom and bust economy, or is it part of something bigger, something foretold? The book of Revelation speaks of a time when no one would be able to buy or sell without the mark of the beast, Revelation 13:17. For centuries, this sounded like an impossible warning. But today, as governments experiment with central bank digital currencies, as cash disappears and digital systems become the gatekeepers of trade, the prophecy no longer feels distant. In this fragile financial moment, people ask, who controls our money? Who decides whether we can buy or sell? That question echoes not only through economies but through prophecy itself, the rise of technology, gods of our own making. Perhaps the greatest sign of all is not war or famine, but the birth of a new kind of power, artificial intelligence. In just a few short years, AI has gone from simple algorithms to systems capable of writing books, diagnosing diseases, managing financial systems, and even creating weapons. But what's most chilling is the language being used to describe it. Leaders and scientists now speak of AI as something almost divine, something that could surpass human intelligence and become godlike. But Scripture warned us of this. In the days of Babel, mankind sought to build a tower that reached the heavens to make themselves as gods. Today, AI is our Tower of Babel, a creation of our own hands, built with the ambition to rise above natural limits. But prophecy tells us that human pride always meets divine judgment, and the question is, will I be the very instrument of that judgment? Some call I the beast that thinks. Others call it the digital prophet. But one thing is certain, it is reshaping humanity's sense of power, control, and even faith. If prophecy warns of false gods, could we be living in the age when humanity has crafted one with its own code and circuits? The spiritual awakening amid chaos, and yet, as the world shakes, something remarkable is happening, a spiritual awakening. Across the globe, people are beginning to ask deeper questions about meaning, purpose, destiny. In times of comfort, people ignore prophecy, but in times of crisis, prophecy becomes a mirror, reflecting truths too powerful to ignore. Churches are seeing revival. Online communities are gathering around Scripture. Even those who once dismissed faith are now asking, is this the end of the world, or is this the beginning of something new? This is where prophecy speaks louder than politics, louder than technology, louder than fear. Because prophecy does not only warn, it also promises. It promises that even as nations crumble, there is a kingdom that cannot be shaken. 2025 is not just another year. It is the hinge of history. A year when prophecy, politics, and technology collide. Wars are escalating, economies are trembling, AI is rising, and humanity is searching for answers. But prophecy tells us these are only the birth pains, the greater events are yet to come. The storm of 2025 is not just about political clashes or shifting alliances. It's about the awakening of humanity to patterns that have been written across centuries. Prophecies, both ancient and modern, tell us that the end of cycles comes with signs, unrest, upheaval, and the collapse of systems we once thought were unshakable. And today, as markets crumble, technology accelerates beyond control, and nations inch toward confrontation, those signs are becoming impossible to ignore. Let us consider the global financial crisis unfolding before our eyes. Economists are calling it the Trump slump, a sudden market crash triggered by sweeping U.S. tariffs that disrupted the entire global trade network. What began as an attempt to strengthen domestic industries spiraled into a cascade of retaliations. Europe, China, and Asia forming alliances to push back against American dominance. Currencies fluctuated wildly, oil prices surged, and the middle class, the backbone of global stability, was shaken to its core. If we peel back the layers, we see history repeating itself. Every empire, from Rome to the Ottomans, reached a point where internal decisions sparked external chaos. Rome's inflation, its endless wars, and its power struggles mirror what we see today in global superpowers. Could this be the modern echo of ancient warnings? Could this be the unraveling of a system designed on debt, greed, and illusion? But prophecy does not stop at finance. The earth itself is speaking. In 2025 alone, we've seen unprecedented climate anomalies recur, breaking heat waves in Europe, floods devastating Asia, and wildfires consuming entire regions in South America and the United States. The climate crisis is no longer a future threat. It is the present reality. Entire nations, like those in the Pacific Islands, are crying out as rising sea levels swallow their homes. Scientists issue reports, but prophecy whispers that these are not just random events. These are the birth pains of a shifting world order. The scriptures of multiple faiths speak of a time when the earth itself would rebel against mankind's arrogance. Droughts, storms, and famine would serve as both punishment and warning. And now, as rivers dry up, crops fail, and technology attempts to replace nature, humanity is confronted with a question: have we gone too far? At the same time, artificial intelligence surges forward. While financial systems collapse and natural disasters rage, the rise of AI introduces an entirely new dimension of prophecy. For centuries, religious texts spoke of false gods, idols made by human hands, and beasts that would deceive the nations. Today, we see algorithms making decisions faster than any human mind, machines predicting our choices before we make them, and AI voices that speak with more authority than leaders or prophets. In 2025, governments and corporations alike are harnessing AI to control economies, monitor populations, and even wage wars. Drones patrol skies, algorithms dictate stock markets, and AI-generated media blurs the line between truth and illusion. Could this be the digital beast system, foretold in ancient scriptures? A system of control so vast, so powerful, that humanity willingly submits to it without realizing the cost. The intersection of finance, nature, and technology is where prophecy becomes reality. We are living in an age where global markets can collapse overnight, where nature strikes back with fury, and where humanity places its trust not in God, not in each other, but in machines. And yet, through all of this turmoil, prophecy reminds us of one critical truth. Collapse is not the end, it is the transition. Empires fall, systems break, and illusions shatter so that something new can rise. The question is not whether the storm is real. The question is who will endure it and who will be swept away. Throughout history, when humanity ignored the warnings of the prophets, collapse was inevitable. The flood of Noah's time, the fall of Babylon, the destruction of Jerusalem, all were preceded by signs that were dismissed, ridiculed, or explained away as coincidence. And now, in the 21st century, we find ourselves standing on the edge of a similar precipice. The book of Revelation describes a system where no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark. For centuries, theologians debated what this could mean. But in 2025, as digital IDs, biometric verification, and cashless economies expand, we are closer than ever to understanding that prophecy. Already, in many nations, physical cash is disappearing. Central banks are rolling out digital currencies which at first promise convenience but also open the door to total surveillance. Every transaction tracked, every purchase recorded, every life monitored. Could this be the financial mark of the beast, not a symbol carved into flesh, but a digital chain wrapped around every human being, binding us to systems we cannot escape? Meanwhile, Nostradamus wrote cryptic quatrains that many believe point to our times. He spoke of fire from the sky, of wars breaking out in the east, of great leaders falling, and of a new Babylon, rising from the ashes of old empires. Some see in these words a reflection of the tensions in the Middle East, the rise of China, and the instability of Western power. The pieces fit together like shards of broken glass, each one jagged, unclear, but together forming an image of turmoil. The Mayan calendar, which famously predicted 2012 as a turning point, may not have spoken of an end of the world, but of the end of a cycle. If that interpretation is true, then perhaps 2025 is the unfolding of that new era, the era of collapse before renewal, chaos before rebirth. But prophecy is not only written in ancient texts, it is written in the earth itself. The Euphrates River, mentioned in Revelation as drying up to prepare the way for the kings of the East, is shrinking before our eyes. Satellite images confirm what Scripture foretold. A mighty river reduced to trickles, exposing ancient cities and artifacts once buried beneath the waters. Is this coincidence, or is it the unveiling of divine timelines? And then there are the earthquakes. The Gospel of Matthew warned, "There shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in divers places." Today, seismologists report unusual activity along fault lines that have long been dormant. From Turkey to California, from Japan to South America, the ground trembles with increasing frequency and intensity. Every tremor feels like a warning shot, a reminder that the stability of the earth beneath our feet is an illusion. What's more chilling is the alignment of these events. Economic collapse, climate disasters, wars, AI rising, rivers drying, earthquakes shaking. None of these alone prove prophecy. But together they create a pattern, and prophecy has always been about patterns. We must ask ourselves, is this convergence random chance, or is it the unfolding of a script written long before our birth? Is humanity blindly stumbling into chaos, or are we living through the precise fulfillment of warnings given thousands of years ago? The prophets of old declared that when man strays too far, and greed, pride, and arrogance blind us, the Creator allows judgment to fall. Perhaps this is the moment when humanity is being forced to face its own reflection, to see the consequences of its choices. Yet, prophecy also carries a message of hope. For within the storms, within the collapse, there is always a remnant, a group that survives, that endures, that carries light into the darkness. The end of one cycle is the birth of another. And in that truth lies humanity's chance, not only to endure, but to rise anew. The world stands at a crossroads. Humanity must decide whether to continue down the path of pride and destruction, or to awaken before it is too late. The prophecies that echo from ancient times are not meant to paralyze us with fear, but to shake us from complacency. They are alarms in the night, warning us that the dawn may come with fire, not with light. The apocalypse does not mean the end of the world. The Greek word apocalypsis means unveiling or revelation. It is the pulling back of a curtain, exposing what has been hidden, and right now, the veil is being lifted. Corruption is being exposed. Systems once trusted are collapsing. Leaders are falling. Technology is advancing faster than our morality can keep up. We are watching the unveiling of human weakness, and perhaps divine judgment. But prophecy is never only about doom, it is also about renewal. Just as winter must come before spring, collapse often comes before rebirth. The Mayans spoke of cycles. The Bible spoke of a new heaven and a new earth. Even Nostradamus, in his bleakest verses, hinted at a time when peace would follow the storms. So the question is not whether prophecy is real. The question is, what role will you play within it? Will you be swept away with the collapsing systems, or will you be among the remnant who stand firm? Will you be one who surrenders to fear, or one who prepares with wisdom? Preparation is not only about storing food, water, or gold. It is about preparing the heart, the mind, and the spirit. For the greatest battles ahead may not be fought only with weapons, but with truth, with courage, and with faith. Perhaps I will rise as a digital god demanding our submission. Perhaps economies will collapse, forcing us into new systems of control. Perhaps the earth itself will shake, and rivers will dry, and skies will burn. But even then, prophecy tells us there will be survivors. There will be those who endure, those who carry forward the flame of humanity into whatever comes next. And maybe, just maybe, you were born for this very moment, to witness, to awaken, to choose. When future generations look back, they will say, 2025 was the year when prophecy unfolded before the eyes of the world. The year humanity was tested. The year the veil was torn away. The signs are not coming. The signs are here. The question is no longer, will prophecy be fulfilled? The question is, will we listen?